And with 1 week to go before Election Day, he's back. Signal Cleveland Managing Editor Mark Naymik joins us again. You were here a week ago. We talked about that Senate campaign. What changes have you seen in the past week?
Well, as Matt just pointed out, indeed the race is still considered by all legitimate polls a toss-up. And as he just pointed out, we're now seeing surrogates, which means that the Bernie Moreno campaign has successfully argued it's that close, we need help to push over. So you have Trump in, you have Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, coming in on Friday. And as he also pointed out, Sherrod Brown is sticking with the bread and butter. We're really going to talk about issues related to workers, but a lot of people may not have noticed he had a surrogate in last week, Martin Sheen, who played a president on TV, raising money. Sheen has a long history of raising money in Ohio for Democratic candidates.
President Bartlett came to town.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's talk about issue one, because I know that's one a lot of people are focusing on. Of course, that's the way that might be modifying the way that Ohio draws its districts. Its districting lines. Who's behind it? Let's get some clarity for people. Who is behind it? And what are you hearing at this point? What are the polls telling us about issue one?
We just saw at the end of last week the financial reports that tell us who's supporting each side. So not surprising, and something we've known for a while, that liberal out-of-state groups are behind issue one's campaign, which is citizens, not politicians. They raised $11 million, have spent $11 million. They're seeing those from groups that are already active elsewhere in the country pushing similar issues, including a group that is tied closely to George Soros, which Republicans bring up all the time, sort of as a boogeyman related to some of these issues. Polling-wise, it's very difficult to poll on this issue. If you ask people, are they for or against gerrymandering, everybody's overwhelmingly against gerrymandering. The challenge with this issue one is convincing which side is really, going to stop it.
What they're voting for.
Yeah.
Let's talk about issue 49, something we haven't talked about a lot. This is a tax increase proposal for the city of Cleveland, the second in 4 years. I believe last time supporters raised about $1 million. How much did they raise this time?
They've raised about the same, $1 million plus, coming from the same traditional groups that give. The Cleveland Foundation, a lot of local businesses. The Haslams gave $30,000, the Guardians gave $30,000, and the combined companies for Dan Gilbert put in $40,000. So they'll have the money. But what's interesting so far, we have not seen an anonymous shadow group come out against issue 49 or the schools levy, as they did 4 years ago, which was arguing it's too expensive on property values.
Voter turnout is pivotal. I understand you've got some new data considering the expectation for Cuyahoga County in that regard.
Well, let's start with the state. We are seeing less early voting than we did 4 years ago, but that was also a pandemic year, so a lot more people were tied to voting early because they didn't know if they wanted to be around people or see things. And we're seeing a shift in that early voting. A lot of that early voting is taking place in person versus by mail or the absentee ballot. So we are expecting it to be a little below what it was in 2020, but it is ahead of 2016. And I think you will see around 70% turnout, which is very typical in presidential elections. That's statewide, and that's where the county is. But county numbers are running a little behind at least the Democratic Party's expectations, which is, again, the largest party in Cuyahoga County.
All right, well, next time we see it will be Election Day.
Yes, right. It'll all be over, and, well, maybe on the presidential side it won't be over.
So,
you might not know for a couple of days. Mark, always good to have you here and your insight. Thank you. So as we gear up for election night, we have so many resources for you online, including important issues to ballot questions and verifications. You can find all of that on WKYC.com, and we hope it helps.